So, class, while in high-density environments, it is possible to use powered flight with Bernoulli's principle. It is incredibly inefficient and doesn't work in any sort of habitable environment. And as that is the only method of atmospheric safe upwards propulsion short of chemical rockets, which would require too much fuel, atmospheric flight is just not viable as a solution to medium-range planet-side travel. Schnock remembered his high school physics class as he stared overhead at their savior on the warfront. After enrolling in the army to pay for university, at least the Terrans managed to make high school free, he had taken 5 years of service under his belt in patrol deployments. Now, many years later and nearing retirement, he was on the front lines of the Kratul invasion. The planet of Lili was weird in the sense that while it was technically Terran-owned, the Terrans allowed the Ornoid government to build their own settlements on the planet. The Terrans themselves were new to the quite anarchic galactic community, and they had finished terraforming. Schnock had no idea what that was, and it seemed that nobody could understand it except the Terrans, Lili just a few months after joining. During negotiations over conflicting claims, the Terrans let the Ornoids place assets on their planets in place of a national government. The Terrans shared control of the system-wide governing body, and both parties had very few military assets in the system to not antagonize the other. The Ornoids had been pushed out of their trenches, a Terran warfare technique, and were now in full retreat across the Terran-Unoid border. This is Terran Lili Military Command, Unoid Squad UNVS-38. Do you copy? Over. This is Unoid Squad UNVS-38 to Terran Lili Military Command. We copy. We are in full retreat across your border. We require support. Over. One of the younger veterans on Schnock's squad answered, having done a few joint ground exercises with the Terran military once the initial hostilities had died down. The Terrans had been quite secretive about their other branches of warfare, but allowed other nations to participate in joint space, orbital and ground exercises, which were all three known forms of warfare. Many thought the Terrans were bluffing, but something in the responding voice of the Terran made Schnock think twice. This is Terran Lili Military Command, Unoid Squad UNVS-38, copy that. What's the state of your force? Over. This is Unoid Squad UNVS-38 to Terran Lili Military Command. We have 50 alive, 30 wounded, the rest dead when they overran Trench 3. We're falling back to our last trench at coordinates 30.3192201S by 77.2829309E. We estimate we have 7 minutes until we're overrun. Over. This is Terran Lili Military Command, Unoid Squad UNVS-38. I have you on record. Hold your line until reinforcements arrive. Afterwards, follow the instructions the reinforcements give you. AHPM type reinforcements coming from 50 kilometers, you're 328.43 degrees northwest. ETA 12 minutes, 10 in travel, over. This is Unoid Squad UNVS-38 to Terran Lili Military Command. Copy that, over. Schnock looked to the northwest. They were pressed up against a mountain range, with the only pass in sight having been blocked by rubble by the Terran military in case the Unoid lines cracked. How could such reinforcements arrive in time from so far away? I don't know, Commander Schnock, but I've been in joint exercises with their ground forces. They don't lie. If anything, they like being early. We just need to hold out a bit longer. Spread the word. Reinforcements in 12. What even is an AHPM reinforcement anyway? Hrongu? Schnock read the name tag on the veteran's uniform. Spotted! A Unoid shout came from part of the trench to their left. Get ready, Schnock commanded. Guns above the trench. Fire at will. No sooner had the words left Schnock's mouth, the scream of artillery could be heard roaring towards their position. It hit the ground 100 meters behind them, setting the forest behind the last trench ablaze. As they engaged the Kratul, Schnock looked up fearfully. Break, he ordered. Glad he had. The remaining Unoid forces scrambled into the burning woods behind them, with no choice but to leave the injured to die to the orbital bombardment that hit their trenches not a moment later. The Kratul infantry advanced, ready to do some forest hunting, knowing full well that with the extermination of the 38th Veteran Squad, the last Veteran Squad alive, they would be rewarded even further beyond what they already would have, having taken the UNVS-38's protective objective. As the soldiers broke up into anarchic groups of 2 or 3, sporadic gunfire and the occasional grade could be heard echoing through the woods. Knowing that the Kratul could track their radios, Schnock and Hrungu dished their radios, carefully fleeing in a random direction. 3 minutes, Hrungu whispered to Schnock, counting the time on his watch. Then they saw a figure in the woods. Hrishnog desperately raised his weapon. "Oh, hey, Commander," a Nunoy soldier said. It was Shrakoa, one of the more forgetful veterans. Hrishnog rushed over to shut Shrakoa. "All right. Sorry, Commander," she whispered to him. Crack! Hrikajoa's eyes went wide. "She's been followed," Hrishnog thought desperately as his eyes wheeled around, trying to find the Kratul, before landing on Hrikajoa's radio, still clipped to her belt. The next second, Hrongu spotted a tossed grenade and shoved everyone to the ground, their 10-meter bodies falling to the forest floor as the grenade went off right beneath their feet. Hrishnog was still conscious after the shockwave had passed through his body, but his hearing was off. He could hear the thump, thump, thump of liquefied organs being shoved around by his two hearts. Opening his eyes, he could blurry see Hrongu scrambling over the radio as the sound of more breaking twigs signified their attacker leaving without even checking for a kill, or free. Looking below him, he saw Krakjoa's body, mutilated by taking most of the grenade blast. He wondered how the shockwave hit him hard enough to destroy his insides, but the noise was still there. "Hello? Is there anyone there? We need help!" Hrongju yelled into the radio. He knew that with the grenade blast in the area, nobody would be checking in on the area anytime soon, so he could ask for help. "This is the Terraform Systems Union, Lili Military Command, Site E622, Specialist, 3rd Helicopter Squad Mobile Task Force. Attention all UNVS 38 personnel, stay where you are. It is important that you do not move. You must cooperate. Drop your weapons and lay face up on the ground." Already on the ground, Hrishnog simply dropped his weapon and rolled to be face up. Suddenly, an oval metal shape flew straight overhead. It wasn't a spaceship, nor was it a ground vehicle. "I repeat, drop your weapons and lay face up on the ground. We'll be with you shortly." With that, the message ended. Suddenly, Hrishnog felt Hrungu pick him up and start dragging him towards the trenches. "He said to stay put," Hrishnog rasped out. "You need medical attention. I'll take my chances," Hrungu responded, in a way that was far too human for a mere few training exercises. Frump, 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 frump. As they came out into the clearing, Hrishnog watched as half of the flycraft sped off in the direction of their protective objective, Kala City, well over 3 hours in vehicle away due to geological features, while the remainder began to lower human troops on rope. Some of the flycraft lowered down crates instead. Below the flycraft, some Kratul soldiers started to fire upon the flycraft. They were quickly dispatched by ground soldiers. "Surrender!" one of the humans called out. It was a mistake, as the next second the galactic-style shielding of the flycraft lit up, but the hail of various weapons didn't break the shield. It was at this point, seeing flying craft that simply should not exist, that Hrishnog passed out. "A Galactic Federation open session is underway," the automated meeting system announced. "Hello, my name is General Raphael, and today I'm here to clarify multiple points on the capabilities of the Terraform Systems Union military. Now, to toss out some of the more obnoxious myths, no, we do not use witchcraft to make metal float, nor have we discovered safe antimatter, or anything else you might have come across. Unlike many species, thanks to Earth's high atmospheric density and low oxygen content, humanity managed atmospheric flight before we even conceptualized a functional spacecraft. We use flight as another fundamental method of transport, as those travelers to Earth would know, but our first flights were choppy. If you know us by now, we're stubborn beyond belief, and so we instead made more efficient ways to fly. To do so, we designed incredibly efficient propellers. Our various airplanes use Bernoulli's principle, while our hot air balloons use pressure differentials. Our hovercraft use redirected pressure to only use one propeller, but hover over any surface. But now, we get to our helicopters. If you look it up online, you will find the basics of a helicopter. A quad drone runs on much the same principle, but the difference is the ability to carry passengers. You see, while they aren't as fast as airplanes, helicopters are small and nimble. No need for giant wings. And as such, helicopters are perfect for military purposes. The reason we have that undisclosed branch of our military is this. The moment the Kratul attacked our civilians, we could ditch the Treaty of Useful Discourse and use our air assault craft. Now, I am surprised that your researchers didn't notice the versatility of our air vehicles. They can function on almost any planet with no adaptations, and this is what let us retake the Lili system in mere hours. However, moving on. I'm sure the Kratul will drag us through the courts for this, and the new war effort requires my attention. But I have a message for you. The entire room was silent. "Why did you give up?"